Alright, back again, Luke here. And as you can see in front of you, this is another Neo Geo AES controller. And the interesting thing about this controller is I picked it up several years ago. And the main reason why I picked it up is because it was pretty cheap. And the main reason why it was cheap was because, as you can see here, it didn't have a cord. Somebody had taken this thing apart. And as you can see, they have chopped all the cords. So they took the cord off and they chopped the wires on this, so it was basically sold as this. Now the funny part is I went into a store later on, probably about a year or so ago, and I was just looking around and I came across this. And this is a Neo Geo CD cord. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to splice in the Neo Geo Cd Cord into this one. Shouldn't be too difficult. In fact, I think we should be able to go just color by color here, and it should work out great. The only thing is there's going to be a little bit of a gap in between here, because normally there was a piece that fit in there. But we'll get this thing all soldered in, and this thing should work. We're going to try and bring this thing back to life. What I'll probably do first is we'll remove the joystick and remove the buttons like we did on the last controller we repaired, and then we'll go and clean those up, grease them up, and then we'll start on the wiring. So I'm going to get on that, and I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so as you can see here, I've removed the buttons, and these are nasty. I don't know how you get so much hair or pubes or whatever that is in there inside a controller, but pretty gross. I have the joystick as well taken off here, so we'll try and get some of those hair remnants out of there and clean this thing up, grease it up. It also looks like somebody put tape on the back here. I don't know why someone would do that, but there's a lot of interesting stuff in here. So we're going to try and clean these buttons up as well, clean the ball up, and yeah, get back to trying to rewire this in a little bit. So I'll see you guys soon. Okay, so as you can see here, we've got our joystick cleaned up. It looks really nice. It's back together. And we also went over here with the rust spots on the main button panel and sanded those down just using some kind of coarse sandpaper to try and get those away. We'll put some oil over that to help protect it so it doesn't come back. But the next thing we're going to get on is trying to clean the top part of this as well as the buttons. Now the difficult part here is that somebody has actually put some sort of tape over the logo as well. And I'm going to try to use a little bit of some rubbing alcohol and hope that it doesn't take the label off, but that is really a bad thing as well. You can see there's just glue remnants or tape remnants on the top here, and the tape has already been taken off, but the remnants are still there, so hopefully it won't take the logo off. We'll just hope for the best, but I'll get on that and be back in a little bit. Okay, so right now I'm going to put some rubbing alcohol here on just a piece of tissue and see if we can get this off without taking the logo off here. Trying not to rub too much, just lightly going around the edge here. And if it's not on the lettering, I'll go a little bit stronger, but I just don't want to take the lettering off accidentally. But yeah, when I saw this controller a few years ago, I actually thought, you know, wow, that thing's really been abused, and want to see what I can do to try and help get it back into working condition. And then I wound up moving before I could get to it, and one thing led to another. Things got packed up and stacked up, and then this thing got forgotten about until I found it just yesterday. Well, it kind of looks like we're getting that border that was on it off of it. Oh, that looks a little bit better. Doesn't have that sticky residue on the side there anymore. And we managed to save the logo, it appears. This is just the dry part here I'm trying to wipe off, but that's not too bad. It came out much better than I expected. As you can see there, you can see where the discoloration is. That's just from having that logo covered with tape. That's just discolored, but logo's still intact here. I think this was a little bit faded beforehand, but looking pretty good, not too bad. So there's still some more remnants up here. I gotta get some sticker stuff off of that, but we'll get that off and then we'll scrub this thing down, and hopefully this thing will come back to life a little bit. It's gonna have a different plug on it, but it should come back to life nonetheless. So I'm gonna get on that right now, wash these buttons, and the next part, all of this will be clean. So I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so we've got our top all scrubbed up here, and we've got all the remnants off. It looks a little bit rough right now, but once we put a little bit of lubrication on top, it should be smooth and ready to go. We've got our buttons all cleaned up, we've washed our balls, and they feel good. I mean, a little bit old, but yeah, they still do the trick. A little bit slippery in the hand. And we've got our shaft, and it's a nice looking shaft right there too, and fiddle with it a little bit, and that's ready to go as well. So we've got everything yeah, basically ready to put back together, and after that we'll splice in our cable and get ready for action. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm about ready to start wiring stuff up. I wound up wiring one wire so far, and I thought that I could just go color by color and it would have been easy, but after deciding to check it before I started wiring it, I found that the Neo Geo CD and the Neo Geo AES have different pins, or have different, I shouldn't say different pins, they have different colors for the different pins. And the Neo Geo CD actually has 13 wires on it, and the Neo Geo AES controller has 12. So I'll poke around here, we'll match everything up. I'm going to be doing this using my meter over here. We'll be checking for continuity and make sure that each one of the wires is connected to the corresponding location. And once we get done with that, then we'll wrap these up and give it a shot. So I'll be back in a little bit more than a few minutes. See you guys soon. Okay, so as you can see here, we've got a bunch of wires all connected up here, and we have one leftover wire, and you'll probably notice that the colors are going to different colors. And I know I had mentioned at the beginning of the video, or towards the beginning of the video, just thinking about splicing the same color with the same color, but definitely, you know, that was a little bit half-hearted, jokingly. You want to make sure that you go through and double check, make sure that you're 100% sure which pins or which wires go with which wires, especially when you're dealing with electricity and you have like high voltages. You don't want to just start guessing and you know, putting two wires together because they're the same color. So just make sure that you're safe with that. And yeah, I went back and double checked, and I was completely wrong. Yeah, like I had thought. There was 13 wires on this, 12 wires on this. I've never had the opportunity, or never really had the reason to go and take a Neo Geo CD controller and splice it with a Neo Geo AES controller. So, but nonetheless, they're all wired up there. This last one here is plus 5 volts. We're not going to be using that because we'll be using the AES controller. And yeah, the only thing left here is to wrap this up and to put the controller pieces back together. So I'll get on that and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so what I've done here so far, this is a little bit different than the original setup. The original setup kind of came around like this and wrapped underneath it. I've gone around the top here, and using the plastic post, I've actually used a zip tie over here. I've taped up the wires to keep them out of the way. I don't want them kind of moving around or anything like that. So I've got this taped up and zip tied to the post up at the top here. And what I'm going to do is, in this cable, to try and get as much length as I can, what I'm going to do is just tie a knot on the end of this, probably around here. And that knot is going to sit in here, and then I'll use my hot glue gun here and fill it in and try and keep it in place, and that should keep it from pulling out and yanking on the wires. So that's what I'm going to do next here, and I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so we've got our cord in the back here. Like I said, I put some hot glue in there to try and keep it in place. I'll have to go around it once it hardens a little bit more. Try and scrape away any of the smaller pieces here. Try and get it kind of look a little bit nicer. But it's in place. It's only attached to the bottom part here. So if I do decide to open this up, I can open up the top. So that's not a problem. We have the rest of the cord here, and it's got a pretty good length on it, so it should work out quite well. Next thing we're going to do is, like the last one here that we did last time, we're just going to kind of shine up the top and plug it in and give it a test. So I'll be back in a little bit. Alright, so as you can see here, this is what it looks like. It shined up really nicely, and that logo is on there really well. I'm very pleased about that. So let's give this thing a shot. As you can see, there's the Neo Geo CD controller plug. We'll fire this thing on and give it a go, see how it works. Maybe we can put this thing up here somehow and give it a try. See how it goes. I haven't had a chance to test this yet, so this will be the first time. Let's see. Well, start button works. Down, up. Excellent. Let's start it up.
Okay.
Let's just skip through here. A works. And this only uses like 2 buttons, I think, but let's see. Right, left. Looks like we got everything working. Seems to be pretty good. Let's see. This just uses the first button. That's right. I'm not going to be able to test the other ones, but I'm pretty confident that everything is working here. So
3, 2, 1, go!
B should be our brake, I think. Yeah, it is. So it works out really nicely, guys. So another controller saved from the grave here. And just want to share this with you guys for right now, but that's about all for me for right now. Like always, I'll put up another video here soon, so thanks for watching. Yeah, B's working.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
This is impossible to play with one hand, but
Watch out.
whee!
Right. Right.
Whee!
Right. Watch out.
Yeah, I'm digging it. It's working very nicely. Although the driving is not working very nicely, but
Right.
finish!